And as an organic farmer, you know, the way you care for the animals is done in an organic fashion. There's no antibiotics used, no hormones, no steroids. I think as an organic farmer, you're more in tune with your cattle, with your ranch, probably more in tune than you ever were before. Prior to being organic, you always thought you were in tune with your cows and with your ranch. But I think once you make that step into organic, you realize you become even more in tune with your cows and with your ranch. I feel a big part of being organic is keeping a very low stress operation. I think that contributes to the health of the cows, and the healthier they are, the less chance that you'll have to intervene and treat them for something. Ultimately, if a cow gets sick and you can't treat her through the organic methods, you are allowed to treat her conventionally. Everything is documented, and then that cow leaves your farm and goes to a conventional farm. But that's a last resort. We have many things available to us to help the animals through a time of need, which are organically approved. Because everything you use has to have an organic certificate with it. It has to be approved by the National Organic Society. These cows are in their final stage of their pregnancy. They'll all be giving birth in the next month or so. And then once they give birth, then they'll enter into the milking herd. These are all organic cows. They're all raised organically. They live an organic life. The ranch itself is certified organic, so any grass they eat that's grown on the ranch is organic grass. Everything they're fed is organic. If it's not grown on the ranch, it's trucked in, but there's a certificate, there's the correct paperwork that comes with that when it's trucked in to verify that it is organic. So everything they eat is organic. And as an organic farmer, you know, the way you care for the animals is done in an organic fashion. There's no antibiotics used, no hormones, no steroids. You know, it's a lot like people used 100 years ago. Epsom salt is used quite a bit. Different creams and ointments are used. A lot of probiotics in their stomach. You want to keep their stomach working well. If their stomach's working well, it transforms into a lot of things that work well on the cow. Yeah, basically as an organic farmer, you're doing things that farmers did 100 years ago, you know, and it's all pretty basic, pretty much back to nature. Yeah. And, you know, you can see they all look happy, they all look healthy, you know, they're in good shape, they've got bright eyes, they've got a nice slick coat. You know, they're just kind of lounging around, you know, some of them are still eating, some of them are having some water, but they live a pretty peaceful life. Yeah, and you know, I think that when they live a peaceful life, a low stress life, you know, they produce a good quality milk that comes through because of the low stress. And then whatever you're going to do with that milk, it enhances the flavor of that product. These cows all produce milk for cheese, and the cheese that's made from their milk has won awards, and it's a good seller. People like the flavor of that cheese. So something must be working. For me to become certified as an organic farmer, the year of 2008 was my transition year. So what you do is you take all of your cattle and you pick a date, and for the next 12 months, you operate organically. Everything they eat is organic in every way that you handle them. All your vaccines, it's all organically approved. There's a third-party certifier who you come in contact with, and you pay them a yearly fee, and they visit your farm and they check all your paperwork to make sure that what you are doing is done correctly with the rules of organic. It's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty simple process. There's a fair amount of paperwork. You know, you have a binder on every cow that takes you through her life from step by step, from when she was born, and it shows who her parents are, and that everything she has eaten is organic, and anything you've done with her, any vaccines, it's all organically approved. Myself, I was a pretty natural farmer prior to becoming organic, so it wasn't a big step. And I think, you know, if you go into it with an open mind and you embrace it, it'll work well for you. And I think we're at a time where there's a lot of consumers who want an organic product. They want to know where their food comes from, and they want to know who their farmer is and how he's treating his animals and what he's doing with the land. And even if it's a lettuce farmer, you know, they want to know how that head of lettuce was grown. I think it's a good thing. I think people should know where their food comes from. And I think it makes us all healthier. Yeah, we were talking about the rules and regulations of being an organic farmer, and also just as a milk producer in general, whether you're a conventional herd or an organic farm. As an organic farm, we have our yearly audit where a third party comes in and makes sure that everything you're doing is up to organic specifications. But also we're inspected on a county level that the milk we produce is of good quality, and the way the milk is handled correctly, that your facilities are clean and in good working order, and the way you sanitize your equipment is done correctly with the appropriate soap, so that you're producing a good product, a quality product. You know, you don't want to produce a product that may possibly make someone sick. When the milk leaves the farm, it leaves the farm in a tanker. That tanker's been properly cleaned, and it's certified that it's been washed and washed correctly. And once the milk gets to the creamery, then the milk is pasteurized, and all that's inspected, and there's a correct way to do it, and it's all documented. And so you have an inspector that comes and checks your pasteurizer and checks all your paperwork, that every gallon of milk you pasteurized was done correctly. And it's all for food safety. You want a good, wholesome, clean product that's going to your consumer so that, you know, no one gets sick. You know, it's a good program. It works well. I think, you know, if someone visits the farm and they get some cheese right from the farm, you know, they've met the farmer for one, they have a chance to talk with him and know what his beliefs are and how he farms. Where when you're at the grocery store, everything looks nice, it's wholesome, it's got a pretty label, but you don't really make that connection. You haven't made the connection with the farm, with the farmer. You know, when you take it home, you can't tell your children, well, I met the farmer and he seemed like a pretty nice guy, you know. Yeah, this is good cheese and it tastes good, but I really don't know where it came from. Not to say that the grocery store is bad, we all need the grocery store, but I think if you have the opportunity to know your farmer, it's a great thing. It's not mandatory, but it's a good thing. I get calls from time to time from people that want to come to the farm, maybe buy a cow, maybe buy a calf, you know, just depends on what they're looking for. It's all kind of word of mouth through a friend, you know, somebody knows somebody.